tell me if you have heard this before, or tell me if, as a leader, you have said this before. Listen closely. Without me, this department or this organization would fall apart. They can't get it done without me. Or maybe somebody has said that to you. You know, you are so important to this organization. You are so important to this department. Without you, things just don't flow well. Well, that may sound like a compliment to your leadership, but in actuality, if you're hearing that about yourself, or if you're thinking that about yourself, you are failing as a leader. I'm Dr. Derek Noble, and welcome to Lead Through Communication, a video series where I partner with you. I become your coach and help you to become a better leader by helping you to become a better communicator, because leadership and communication go hand in hand. The title of this episode is The Leader as Coach. The Leader as Coach. And I want to begin by telling you something that may sound a bit radical to you. It may sound a bit counterintuitive to you. Your job as a leader is to eventually get your people to the point that they do not need you anymore. Now, I know that sounds radical to some people because some of us are in the business of being needed. Some of us need to be needed. But your job as a leader is to get people to the point of independence so that they don't have to come to you to answer every question and solve every problem. Those of you who are parents, do you remember when you were teaching your children how to walk? Remember the first time you were teaching your kids how to walk? They probably stumbled and fell. And you probably picked them up, and if they were crying, you dried their tears. But after you dried their tears, you know what you did? You put them right back on the floor, and you made them walk again. There's a reason why you did that. The reason why you did that is because you knew that if you didn't force your child to walk, one day you would be carrying a teenager on your back. And who wants to do that? And as a leader, who wants to have employees who cannot function without you? Who wants to have a steady stream of employees coming into your office or calling you or emailing you, asking you for direction? Your job as a leader is to eventually get them to the point of independence. And the way you do that is by coaching them and not bossing them. I want to just make a couple of points here about what it means to be a coach as opposed to what it means to be a boss. First of all, a boss tells people what to do. A coach equips them to do it. A boss tells people what to do, but what a coach does is a coach trains people to the point, gives people information to the point that they can do it without them. I am a sports fan, particularly basketball and baseball, season tickets to the Los Angeles teams, okay? Have you ever seen a team losing, and when the team was losing, the coach gets off the bench and says, hey, let me get in this game and teach these guys how to do this? No, the coach doesn't play in the game. You know what the coach does? The coach prepares the team before the game so that once the game happens, the team knows what to do. Your job as a leader is to coach them, not to boss them. If you are doing it with them and doing it for them all the time, you may feel important, but you are failing your people as a leader. They're never going to stand up and be independent. The second point I want to make is this. I want to give you a definition of a coach, because we're often told that we need to coach people, but we're not always given the definition of a coach. This definition of coaching comes from a book entitled Coactive Coaching, and I'll put a link to it below in this video. Here's the definition of coaching. Coaching is the process of equipping people with the tools, the knowledge, and the opportunities they need to fully develop themselves to be effective in their commitment to themselves, the organization, and their work. Now, there are some important parts of this definition. I want you to circle or highlight the word equipping, because that is the key word when it comes to coaching instead of bossing. Bosses tell people what to do. Coaches equip people and help them to be able to do it through their equipping of them. Now, there are three ways that you equip people. You give them the tools, you give them the knowledge, and you provide for them the opportunities. Now, sometimes giving your people the tools means giving them updated equipment, giving them the latest technology, giving them the latest software, the latest computers, making sure that all of the tools of their trade are in good working order. Sometimes you need to give them the tools. Sometimes you need to give them the knowledge. And that means you need to provide training for them. You need to bring somebody like myself, a corporate trainer, in to teach them how to do their job, whatever that job may be. You need to provide training for them. Sometimes that takes the form of in-person training. Sometimes it takes the form of online training. Sometimes it simply means finding a good article that your people might benefit from and emailing the article to them so that they can read it. You need to give them the tools, you need to give them the knowledge, and you need to give them opportunities. And that means you've got to give them the chance to try things on their own, which also means you have to give them the chance to fail from time to time. If you buffer them and cushion them all the time and never give them the opportunity to fall flat on their faces, they never learn. I want you to go back to that analogy of teaching your children how to walk. When they were first learning, they fell and they hurt themselves, but you picked them up and you made them walk again. And they fell and they hurt themselves. But the only way they learned how to walk was by falling. Now, I know that there are times and there are certain situations where you cannot afford to allow your people to fail. I know that. I want you to use your discretion here, but you've got to give your people the opportunity to try things on their own. And then when they do fail, you bring them back and say, okay, now let's talk about what went wrong and let's talk about what we can do differently. If you never give them opportunities to test their knowledge and skills, they will never grow and they will forever be dependent upon you. The third and final point I want to make is a quote from my hero, Bruce Lee. Nothing I do would be complete without a quote from Bruce Lee. Here's what Bruce said years ago, and I'm going to read his quote, and then I'm going to change the language just a little bit, just to update it for the sake of inclusivity. But here's what Bruce said. A teacher is never a giver of truth. He is a guide, a pointer to the truth that each student must find for himself. Now, I'm going to change Bruce's language here a bit just to make it a bit more inclusive. If Bruce were here in 2022, he would probably say a teacher or a coach is never a giver of truth. They are a guide. They are a pointer to the truth that each student must find for themselves. Your job as the coach is to point your people in the right direction, to train them, to give them the information they need, to give them the tools they need, and then, after you've done all that, to trust them to do it. And when you trust them to do it and they rise to the occasion, that now frees you up to do training with other employees who need your help. I want you to make sure that you like and subscribe this video and to this series, and feel free to follow me on social media. You find me all over the place. I'm Dr. Derek Noble. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Keep watching and tune in for our next episode as I continue to partner with you and help you to take your leadership to the next level of excellence.